And so here we are again. Yesterday night, I watched this. Matter of fact, I was watching this when a comment come in from Wild Bill telling me that I need to do a reply to this. And I was already in the middle of watching this. And yeah, I already knew at that point that I was going to say something before I ever got the comment. Okay? And yeah, I'm going to say something. This guy said well, he did say one positive thing, but now the reason I've went as far as I've went with this young man is because of the fact that we have an actor from Hollywood by the name of Elliot Rogers. Stage name, remember that's not the real name. The public doesn't have directors or producers or actors' real names. They never have and never will have. They have the stage name that was given to them that the public sees them as. Okay, so with that being said, we already know from everything I've already showed you, the manosphere is under attack right now. And I warned people this for the last, 4 or 5 months now. I've told people that they're setting in, they're coming after the manosphere. We have agents, plants all over YouTube. And if you think we don't, you're seriously out to lunch. You have no idea of what you're talking about because you haven't schooled yourself to the truth and you're going with propaganda. With this guy here, the reason I did what I did is because of the red flags. Because I figure this way. I didn't care if I was wrong. Because it wasn't an attack. It was the fact to call the attention to the red flags. Because if they're planning something they're not going to tell you, they're going to move forward with their plan, and they're going to use another young man, possibly, for another phony baloney show so that they can add to the list that I've already showed you they've created, so that they can justify making another law, mental health law here in America, against the men this time. Another red flag law to come against the manosphere, to shut you up. That's really what it's about. It's to shut you up. It's to shut you up from telling the truth. It's to shut you up from talking about all that taboo topic, from telling real truth. Because truth is not allowed in today's society. You believe what you're told regardless if it's a lie, and that's it. That's all that's allowed. Believe the lie. Believe the lie. Believe the lie. We don't want truth. We do not want truth. Truth is your enemy. And by me calling the red flags from this guy out, if they were to use him and if this was their intentions and he was going to be part of this, then it would bring awareness to the manosphere of the things I said before they would do it, hopefully causing them to back off that plan. It may not stop them. They may change and use somebody else. They do something else. All it is a diversion. All it does is slow them down. Okay, now by no means am I saying that this guy is definitely, working with them as an actor for the tool, because we have literally millions of people who have sold out their own countries and their own people for their own selfish greed. For the tool, money. That's right, enough money offered to them, they'll do anything, including selling out their family, their friends, and everybody around them. Yeah, no lie. That's the world we live in. And because you wouldn't do it, it's not an excuse to say nobody would do that. Because you wouldn't do something, don't mean somebody else wouldn't. Anyhow, I watched this. Now I'm going to play the parts that I've ripped the video, and I've put certain parts together. This video is going to be a lengthy video, because I've actually got quite a bit I want to address here. Okay, so I'm going to start it. We're going to play, we're going to listen, and I'll break it down as I always do as we go. and we'll go from there.
Constantly being told I need help, I need a therapist, I need counseling. Now, I just recently gave up on my therapist and started looking for another one because I just got so frustrated with trying to explain the same things over and over and over for a year straight, and it's like it just goes in through one ear and out the other, and she just doesn't get it. She'll just give me some wishy-washy bullshit false hope, tell me everything's just going to fix itself one day, which I know it's not. It's like you have an oil leak in your car, right? Your car's leaking oil. Is the oil leak just going to fix itself, or do you have to repair it? You know what I'm saying? Nothing just fucking fixes itself.
Now, these are some of the same analogy I have used, type wording I've used through the past in my videos myself. And I respect him for this, okay? I really do. Because what he's saying is so true, so correct. He's not lying to you. He's telling the truth right here, okay? And the other thing I'm going to say right now is he's going to a counselor, which has been somebody who's went to college and been dumbed up, okay? Who goes along with the establishment even if they don't know anything that's going on in society. They're still going along with the establishment's wants. And then to top it off, to even make it worse, he's going to a female counselor. Now, this is not a gender issue, but the facts are the facts. The truth is the truth, and that is a big mistake within itself. He would have been better off going to a male counselor than a female counselor. Now, my suspicions are we could have a person here because he has a wife that's deceased that passed away, 10, 11 years ago, right? So, if it was the only female he'd ever had in his life that he got married to, and she passed away and he loved him, all condolences go out to him. I respect him. I feel for him. I understand the hurt of the loss and how bad that would tear him up. And then to be pushed into a society, if he's asleep at the wheel, which all of us are, when we're born or raised and we grow up, every one of us are asleep at the wheel. There's no such thing as a human being that was born awake to what's going on. Anybody says I've known this since I was born is a hypocritical liar who cannot be trusted. Okay? So, this is just a suspicion, and I would hope that this would be true, even though it's sad. He's like the rest of us. He grew up in the same world with the rest of us. He was young in high school, what have you, met the girl, got a girl in his life, fell in love with the girl, married the girl, then something happens and she dies. She passes away. He lost the only girl he had, the one he was in love with, the one that was his wife, before he could have kids, before he could raise a family. And since that time, he's been trying to replace, to find, to meet. Do you understand this? Not aware of what's going on in his world around him. Okay, so that's what I suspect possibly is going on. Let's watch up.
She'll tell me some shit like, oh, well, you don't know the future. I know that certain things are not changing, and that certain things continue to happen in the exact same way. So I know that they're not gonna magically just turn around one day. It's not hard to figure out. They're not changing. They haven't changed in 10 years. So I just gave up. I'm like, you know what? I'm not wasting my time with you anymore. You're You're not even acknowledging that my problem exists. She doesn't even acknowledge that the FA thing is a real thing. She's like, oh, I don't think you should be watching these FA videos. They're going to teach you that you're going to be alone for the rest of your life. Like, yeah, idiot, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. It's a very real possibility that I will be. And I'm watching the only people that shed a light onto this subject matter, because no one else gets it. And I gotta say, I really want to thank you, FA Monday, because nobody has done this level of research that I've seen and really sat there and dissected the phenomenon of being stuck with the FA situation.
See, this is one of the red flags, as I was telling you about. But now let's think about it for a moment. Because the problem is he's saying nobody, understands, and he's painting it out as it's a little community, and it all goes back to FA, to FA, to FA. This is the red flag, okay? But it doesn't mean, it does not mean that he's aware, but I am going to say this. For me to believe he's not aware of True Force Loneliness, TFL, okay? No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Okay, I really don't. Now, I'm going to go on here because he's going to say some more things, but I want you to understand. Mainstream media, the powers to be at the top, okay, they all know TFL. Oh, believe me, they do. The people online know that are in the dating arena or doing this know about TFL. And what's the one common denominator we see going on? Okay, so far it appears that the real people, the ones really telling the truth, that don't have an agenda, whether it's selfish interest, greed, fame, here for all the wrong reasons, or isn't a plant, right? Or that is a plant, not isn't, okay? So far, what I'm seeing is TFLers seem to be the only honest, from the heart, honest people in the manosphere. Because what I'm seeing, what I've been seeing for a long time now, is anybody that's not associated or TFLer speaking out seems to be here for selfish gain or an agenda. Yeah. And you notice they all avoid the top, they all avoid TFL. They avoid TFL over the plague. And mainstream media wants to lump, just like, turd flinging monkey, which stands for man flinging propaganda, BS, who is an agent. I don't care what anybody tells me. That's an agent, okay? And he's purposely give you the name turd flinging monkey, okay, because they're laughing at you, they're mocking you. But even he and mainstream media have taken TFL and lumped it into incel. To avoid what? Truth. What's the one thing we can't have in today's world? Truth.
And you're a very intelligent person, I can tell. And I really appreciate all the work that you've put in on your channel.
And this is sad to hear him say this stuff, because he's either working with the system or he's not, right? And if he's not working with the system and he's just don't understand what's going on, okay, then he is falling down the rabbit hole and he's listening to somebody and praising somebody who's not here to help him. And of course, that somebody would be loving it. because he sees the big word sucker wrote across this guy's head. Because he actually don't care about this guy. But he's not going to let this guy know that. No way. See, so whichever one it is, whether he's working with him or not working with him, the system, if he's not working with the system, then it's very sad to hear this. If he's working with the system, then I wouldn't expect to hear anything different.
To try to help people. And I know for a lot of us it's too late. I know you speak on
Monday, Forever Alone Monday is not here to help people. That's an illusion. That's a mirage. That's a hologram.
People catching this when they're young, which is, that's a good thing. But the one thing, and I just thought of this now that you sort of overlook when you're thinking about that, when you're young, you're probably not going to realize it's happening to you.
No, he's correct. When you're young, you wouldn't know what's happening to you. But see, okay, it goes like this. Coach Red Pill tells the manosphere it's the father's fault. The father raised the children wrong, and it's the father's fault that millions and millions of men all over the world can't get someone in their life. No, it's not the father's fault. See, it's called avoiding the truth. Blaming what they've done onto you. And Monday, Forever Alone Monday, who was on Coach Red Pill's show celebrating his 200,000 sub, which he wouldn't have if he wasn't an agent. But we'll go into that in more detail at the end of this here video. So let's go with this. Okay, the truth is, Coach Red Pill tells you it's the father. Monday, Forever Alone Monday, tells you as you were a child. As you was a child, what do they have in common? Coach Red Pill tells guys the father didn't raise you as a child. As a child, see, still a child. Monday, Forever Alone Monday tells you what? As a child. What did he just say? See, he told the truth. As a child, you would have no way of knowing.
It's only when this, you have this reoccurring experience for a prolonged period of time that it starts to click. Like, oh shit, this isn't normal. This isn't right. Caused me severe depression. It's ruined my life. And the fucked up thing is, I was put in this situation in a really fucked up and tragic way, like losing my wife. Now, let me tell you something. Like, when she died, that alone would be bad enough. But the few other people that have experienced this, they've moved on and were able to find someone else. Me, I got stuck in the FA situation. I got fucking expedited straight into it.
Okay. Now, everything he said is such an honest statement. Okay. And let's just go with the fact of, on the flip side of this, that if he is actually just naive, which we are all of us are, until we re-educate ourselves, we're naive to what's really going on. So let's go with the other side of this coin, and let's say what he said here is so accurate, because what he said here is actually true, okay? And he's not aware of. And after his wife died, he's been pushed into what? Okay? So let's pay attention to something you've already heard. Because my hope is, okay, that if this is true, that somebody will see to it to make sure he knows about this video, and that he'll watch it. Because then what he just said and what's happened to him is self-explanatory. So let's let a female, that's right, let's let a female and another female tell him why he's in this situation right here.
To step in here and say realistically, with the sexual marketplace being what it is, which is a marketplace of free agents at the moment. So we've gone from essentially a system where probably 90% of men would be able to have a sexual relationship and be able to have a long-term marriage with children. 80 to 90% of men would have been able to get that. When you have it's all just a free agent thing. There are going to be men who are left behind, and it's not necessarily that they just don't understand that there's a woman out there who's going to be attracted to them. There are going to be men who are not going to be attractive to anyone.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just how it is. This is not that man.
No.
I guarantee you this man is not that man. But I think that honestly, you can't deal with the problem of incels by saying, well,
But hold on.
someday you'll find a woman who appreciates you for who you are and who is going to be attracted to you, because that's just not going to happen for a significant minority of men who are at the very, very bottom of the sexual marketplace.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I would take objection to is your saying that the problem of incels. It's not a problem.
It is a problem. It's
Well,
not the problem of
it is.
it's
It
not
is
the
for the-
problem of incels. It's the problem
Right.
for incels. It's
Right.
there. It is a problem.
Exactly.
Right? And it's
Exactly.
like I have said over and over and over again, it's not just a problem of not getting laid, right? It is a problem of never being touched,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? Never,
Mhm.
not even in like sort of friendly ways.
Yeah, not getting a
because
connection
when
with
a
other
woman-
people, and it's connecting
when
to
a
other
woman-
people.
When women deem you completely unfuckable, they don't want to put their hands on you in any way. Otherwise, you might get the wrong idea, right?
Right.
So they're going to be completely hands off with you, right? So you're going about the world never being touched by another human being. And on top of that, when women as a group deem you to be completely unfuckable and creepy, right, or untouchable, then the men around you don't want to have anything to do with you either.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's really because it might rub off on them. What's making you unfuckable might rub off on them. And
Guilt
so
by
you get
association.
abandoned by both sexes.
Yeah.
Right? And you become completely isolated. And this is the problem. Like this guy, I wouldn't consider him an incel. Right?
No.
This is just a choice that he's making.
Okay. I don't need to play any more of that, but I wanted to play that because if this guy ain't been over to my channel or watching any of my stuff, he's not going to know what the people that's been on my channel's been seeing. Okay? Because he's not watching. He's not paying attention. And if that's the case, if you can get him to watch this video, he'll get to see this stuff for himself. Now, of course, on the other side of the coin, if he actually is working with the establishment, he's not going to care about this, okay? And I don't want to say he is. I want to hope that he's not, but I want the red flags that he puts up here because we've already had Hollywood involvement with Elliot Rodgers. We already got a list of phony, baloney events that never took place, that were stage shows that are being used by the establishment and mainstream media to come after the manosphere. And they always take their time about this type of stuff and string it out in a period of a few years and create a bunch of different situations to use to justify, to create laws to take rights away, freedoms away. So watch up.
And the number one thing, it just makes me so angry to be here. It really does. And it makes me even more angry and frustrated to have to, oh, you need to get, I hear it constantly, oh, you need to get help. Goes, have you seen a therapist? Have you tried a therapist? It's like, what the fuck do you think that's gonna accomplish? In the mind of a normie, you're a car. I said it before. It's like they see you as a car, and you're just going to the mechanic, and then ding, a week later you're gonna be out. Oh, look, brand new. Working like brand new, all my problems fixed. And it's so frustrating, because you go to a therapist, I do anyway, and I try to explain my situation, right? And I can't even get close to a solution because they will just flat out deny my problem exists. Or it'll just, everything I will tell them will go in through one ear and out the other. And, you know, for one thing, I know I'm getting mad talking about this, I really am. It really,
which is a normal human being reaction, emotion. It's normal. The anger, the rage, the depression, everything he's going through is perfectly normal. There's nothing unnormal about it. The sad thing is this. You grow up in this world. You're not awake to what's really going on around you. And then you have mainstream media pushing and promoting females as experts in the dating scene, as gurus in the dating scene. So really what's taking place is the gender that just had to take their pick, which any 3-year-old child can pick out their favorite candy or their favorite toy. The female gender, the one that really does have to do no work other than just put on some clean clothes, be clean, and appear, gets approached and does no work but take their pick, has become the expert. And if you're asleep to what's really going on, and he's had a wife in his life from a young age, okay, who died, he's not going to be aware of any of this. So when he watches mainstream media and then he goes and gets a counselor, he's going to think the female's probably a pretty good counselor, not understanding what's really going on. That's the reason I paused, or one of the reasons I played that other clip with the leaders of the men's rights movement, a female, Karen Stroud, Girls' Rights Watch.
really sends me into a rage. And, you know, then normies can point at me and say, oh, look at this guy, he's unstable, he's this, he's that, and, you know, say all the bullshit they usually do. Fuck you.
And I don't blame him for that, because that's exactly the truth, what he's telling you. Okay? They create the problem. That's right, the people at the top, the Masons, okay, the Fabians, you know, the pyramid, the structure. They created this problem. They knew what it would do to people. Everything he's expressing here is exactly what it does. But then what he's talking about is exactly what happens when you try to reach out for help. There is no help. You're blamed for it yourself, which is what Monday Forever Alone Monday does. He tells you it's you as a child. That's right. He puts the blame back onto you. He doesn't go to the root cause. That's exactly what Coach Red Pill does. He puts the blame back onto the man, the father, which goes to the child, the father's child. Do you follow what's going on here? Nobody talks about the actual real truth, the root cause. Why do you think you never hear TFL's name brought up and they lump it in with incel? Because they don't want you hearing the real truth.
Suck a dick. That's how I feel about you fucking normie scumbags. You're real pieces of shit, you know that? You know, and I really think there's two types of people when it comes to the normies, the evil scumbag normies. There's like murderers and rapists that are the real, true, serious evil. And then there's normies who are just, they're like law-abiding scumbags. You know, They won't break the law. They won't kill anyone. But put any kind of situation, like let's say you have to work for one of these cocksuckers, they will go out of their way to make your life miserable every day you come to work. To really make you feel that pressure of being a wage slave. And not only that, but being treated like shit. So fuck normies. Anyways. Yeah, it really sends me into a fit of rage. I'm getting off topic. I was really trying to talk about what it's like to try to seek out mental health treatment and, you know, to try to get a therapist and to try to get help from a therapist. You can't even think about a solution because they won't even acknowledge the problem exists. I'm stuck being in the incel FA situation. So, I'm talking to this one therapist and I'm just trying to she's trying to direct me to who she can, you know, maybe send me to help me, to speak to, you know, to whatever it is they do. And I'm like, okay, do you know what an incel is? She's like, no. And I say, it stands for involuntarily celibate, but that's really not an accurate term for my situation. It's just really one of the only terms available because I'm not.
It's not one of the only terms available. See, this is wrong. This is avoiding the truth again. Okay, but listen.
Looking for sex. I'm looking for a relationship.
Correct. See, this is the reason I tell you all the time, TFL, Two-Force Loneliness, and involuntary celibacy are not one and the same thing. Yes, they're linked together because it's men who can't get a relationship. But the focus of involuntary celibacy is sex. 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 It always has been. Always. Okay? That's no lie. It's always been that. And even he noticed that and says this right in your face. That's why he says it's not an accurate term. The accurate term is TFL. But you don't hear him say TFL, do you? No. See, you're not hearing him say TFL. The accurate term is TFL, not incel.
And the incel label only addresses the sexual aspect of it.
There it is, right in your face. What I've always said, and that's the reason I separate them, and that's the reason man-flinging propaganda, turds, you know, turd-flinging monkey, man-flinging propaganda, turds. That's the reason he took incel and TFL when he did that video, and he pushed them into the same category and said they're one and the same, when they've never been one and the same. And even that agent, turd-flinging monkey, knows they're not one and the same, but they don't want you to know that. They want to skew it. They want to twist it. They want to manipulate it. Why? Because through skewing it, twisting it, turning it sideways, flipping it upside down, they keep the truth hidden from you. What did I tell you already? TFLers are the most honest people in the manosphere. No lie. TFLers tell the real truth, tell it as it is. Where everybody else in the manosphere has their own dang agenda and is telling propaganda and lies.
And the problem is that I can't find I just can't be in a relationship. I can't find a relationship because I constantly get rejected. And she says, so you're choosing to be on your own.
So you can't find a relationship. He's constantly rejected. He's constantly rejected. What did you hear here? What did the girls' rights tell you? What did the leader of the men's rights movement tell you? Well, there would be why he's not finding.
I'm like, bitch, what part of involuntary don't you understand? Don't you grasp the basic English language? And this is what it's like talking to these people. They can't understand a simple sentence you say. And it's so frustrating. And this is the one thing I've noticed about dealing with normies, and this is something that F.A. Monday talks about with a lot of his comments. A lot of his comments, they just are so off base and didn't even listen to a word he said in his videos. And I've seen this with other people's videos too, that not even talking about the F.A. situation. This guy was talking about getting sick from Xanax, and the fucking retard comments he got were like the people didn't even fucking watch the video or listen to a word he said. And it's like that talking to these people. So when you tell me to get help, I have to go through this experience, right? So I was like, no, I said involuntarily. I'm not choosing to be in this situation. I can't get out of this situation. And then she says, well, anger is very unattractive. And I'm like, bitch, I'm not walking up to these women I like in a fit of rage and cursing them out. She's like, I'm gonna hang up now because you're swearing at me. I'm like, because you're an idiot. I shouldn't have to. I know. You know, I'm an asshole. Do you know what it's like after 10 years of this shit? After 10 years of people trying to get help from people who can't understand basic English, who don't understand a word I'm saying.
No, they do understand you. It's called the cremation of care. It's called the loss of care. They don't care. They don't give a shit. The only thing they care about is their selfish selves.
Everything I tell them will go in through one ear and out the other. Like, are you serious? And this is a reoccurring situation in my life too. Anyone that's ever tried to help me has either just disappeared for some reason, been transferred out of their job, or been killed. And that's really fucked up. That's what happened to several of my friends. They were killed. They were trying to help me. They were trying to promote my music.
This is a red flag.
They were promoting my music. They were trying to get me out of this situation, man. My friend Mike, he was, rest in peace, man. He was about to release my music through his label.
He was about to release my music to his label. Do you understand that's another red flag? I don't care what anybody tells me. The truth is this. You do not get into Hollywood. You do not get into the music industry unless you've already sold your soul. Unless you have already sold your soul and are part of the establishment that has done this to all of us. Okay? And if these people had sold their soul that he was working with, and they were trying to push somebody into it, unless he sold a soul, he could never get his music off the ground anyhow. But there's a red flag right here, so you got to pay attention to that.
Right as we're about to release it, he turns up dead.
Right as we're about to release it, he turns up dead. Killed, dead. Yeah. So you got the red flag is right here in your face.
No. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because this situation is driving me to suicide.
That's sad to hear because we've seen over the years a few TFLers kill themselves. The last one actually set himself on fire.
Call from 65.
I can't get it off of my mind. Listen, I hate every minute of existence here in this life. I've said it before. The only thing I do is work, sit around alone, or I can go out. And I can be ignored by people in public. I can be ostracized in public.
You can be isolated. That's right. You can be isolated. Girls' Rights What? Karen Stroud told you that.
I'm not saying nobody ever likes me. I'm just saying I can't form connections. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. People are so fucking fake.
Correct.
You know, they say, oh, we'll get up, we'll do this, we'll do that. Never happens.
That's right, because they're fake. They're frauds. They're liars. They're deceivers.
They never speak to me again. So I'm stuck in this area. I'm able to work, I'm able to make a living, but that's it. And it breaks my fucking heart that I can never have a family like I wanted.
Millions of men go through that all the time.
I always wanted to be a father.
Yep, that's millions of men that are denied that.
And at this point,
helps with population reduction, doesn't it? Yeah. NWO, right in your face.
Because of what's been done to my mental state, even if I found somebody, which is so unlikely at this point, but even if I did, I'm so fucked up by now.
And this is a very true statement. And don't think for one moment the people who social engineered this don't know that. Yes, they know this. And yes, this is why they're pushing on the manosphere right now. Because it will be mental health. Red flag right in your face again. It will be mental health used against you. You know, problem, reaction, solution. The problem they created. Here's the reaction right there in your face, which they already knew it would be because it's normal. Nothing wrong with him. Okay. Solution. Pass red flag laws. Take more rights away. Lock down. Federally enslave.
Bro, do you think if it were that simple that I would be alone for the last 10 years if I could do something that took 5 fucking seconds? I go to the gym. I have nice clothes. None of it works. I go out in public dressed up nice with $500 shirts.
How many people do you know spends $500 on a shirt? See, he either bullshitly lied right here, or he has lots of money he's not telling you about. Yep. Which would put him as part of the establishment. Yeah. Or linked to Hollywood. Or linked to the music industry. Or he bullshitted you right there. Because let's think about it honestly. How many men do you know that are going to spend $500 on a shirt?
And my beard trimmed nicely and a nice haircut. I'm not a fucking retard. I know how to dress. I know how to dress myself. I know how to turn a shower on. You turn the water on and it comes out of the fucking faucet. Just, you know, like, See, it makes me mad because it's so demeaning for people to just assume that you've done nothing. That you haven't even done the most basic things that a 3-year-old could figure out to do.
This is how people treat other people in today's society. They love to assume, and walk around with their big foot hanging out of their big mouth because they've lost the ability to care. They look down at other people all the time and think they're so much smarter and better without looking into anything themselves.
For them to say those things to you, they must think that you're that stupid and that lazy that you haven't tried the most bare-bone basic shit. Yeah, man. I know. Coming apart. I'm a dude. I can't sit around sobbing and crying all day. So the soul-crushing loneliness, the despair, the heartache, the pain I feel just missing my wife. What do you think happens? It turns into rage.
Exactly. 100% concrete truth in your face.
Not that I want to sit around crying like a bitch all day. I want to just have a normal life. I want to be able to do what other people do so easily.
Right. As Karen said, a good number of men. That's right. A high number of men will go through this because they're untouchable. That's right. They've been stereotyped out. They've been pushed out by evil.
And I know it's really not that easy for a lot of guys because probably about 50% of us are fucking incels these days.
No, see, you notice how we took TFL and shoved it into incel? It shows this guy's either a plant, an actor, and if he's an actor, he's a damn good one, okay? Or he's real and hasn't paid attention. That's right. And I find that hard to believe that he wouldn't have looked and acknowledged TFL. He knows all about incel, doesn't he? He knows all about Forever Alone, doesn't he? Yeah. So no, I find that hard to believe.
So, yeah. Trying to get help. This therapist hasn't returned any of my calls. Usually that's the thing that happens. But when I do, I'll try to explain what's happening to me, and they'll be like, so you choose to be alone. Like, no, you fucking moron! I just told you I don't! What is difficult to understand about that? Language! Words mean things. I say words. You listen to them. What is so hard to do about that? Just like, fuck. I know it's gonna happen again because it always happens. I try to explain what's happening to me and that I have the rest of my life alone to face. There's an extremely high probability based on how all of my experiences have gone and the fact that my experiences are actually getting a lot worse as I get older. They're not improving, they're getting worse.
Of course they are. Because nobody ever opened their eyes and took their head out of their you-know-what and paid attention and listened and looked for themselves to see what was really going on. And even when a female who's heading a men's rights movement, which is a joke, told it to you in your face, you still are turning your heads.
My experiences in that regard are getting worse. Not better, worse. So they're just gonna tell me, he or she is just gonna say, oh, well, you'll find the right one someday. Why am I talking to you?
Well, you will. When they bury you, they might bury you next to the right one.
Not gonna even acknowledge that my problem exists. So I can't move on to the part where we talk about what living in isolation does to a person psychologically, because we can't even get there, because
they want that. That's why they're moving in on the manosphere, because they want this.
You won't admit that it's even happening to me in the first place. So, good luck getting any fucking help.
That's what happens when you lose care. That's what's happened to our world. The majority have lost the ability to care for other people and only care about their own wants and their own selves.
And you already know, I don't fucking read the comments. I don't give a fuck what these scumbag, retard normies have to say.
Okay. Now he's going to come up in our knowledge. I wonder if it ain't because of the videos I posted that he don't read the comments. Now, I also find this hard to believe. First off, I understood what he said earlier about the comment section. Yes, that happens. I've seen it all the time. It happens all the time. I've seen it the entire time I've been here. But that it's not 100% across the board, never has been and never will be. There's an awful lot of people on this man's videos who are on his side that leave comments that are actual real TFLers, and he don't read the comments, right? I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Okay, I'll tell you what. If he was really that set against comments, then he would have selected the option and set his channel up that comments for this video are disabled. That's right. And there would be no comment section because he's against comments. But to allow the comments and say what he said, nope, don't buy it. That's another red flag. To tell me for 1 minute that he hasn't taken time and ever looked at his comments would be a lie. Because if he's truly the TFLer he claims to be, okay, and he's left the comment section open for comments, you're damn right now and again he comes in and looks at his comments. You're damn right he does. Human nature. If he was really as set against comments as he just claimed, they would be disabled. So this right here should be another big red flag in your face.
I really hope you motherfuckers die. And I mean that. And you might think that's pretty extreme. Well, yeah. You bastards don't know what it's like to be on the receiving end of your shit. The shit you dish out. So fuck you.
No, they're actually getting power trips over it.
5791.
Fuck all of you. And for anybody that's in my situation, that's going through what I'm going through, I feel for you, man. I'm sorry. I don't have any answers. I don't know how to get out of this shit myself. Like hell, I wish I did.
It's not an easy life. It's deliberately done. It's been socially engineered. These people know full well what they're doing to you. No, they're not dumb of it. They know it. They get off on watching people suffer. Because they're psychopaths. Because they're delusional. Because they get an ego trip out of watching you suffer. Because they don't have care. So they enjoy watching people suffer. That is their entertainment. But by no means would they ever want to go through it themselves. It's in your face.
I know. This looks really bad, and what can I say? It is. I'm not gonna hurt anyone. Look.
This is probably the best thing I ever heard him say. Okay? This right here. Okay, so I have to take his words, and say, he has now openly said, I'm not going to hurt anyone. This is what TFL has always promoted. Okay? Seriously, we always have. From the very beginning. We don't condone violence. Hurting nobody. Unacceptable, okay? Understand why somebody would, but we don't condone it. We don't want it. Okay? Anything to do with it. So this is probably the best statement I've heard him say. And this is what makes me say there is the chance this guy could be just somebody who is totally asleep at the wheel, that don't understand what's going on around him, and is falling down the rabbit hole and hooked up with the wrong people. But then you still have to go back and question things like the comment section that I brought up, the red flags I've been pointing out. You still have to go back and question that. Then you also have to think about, what if I derailed a false flag? Another stage show that was going to be used. That's great. That's what I would hope to do. But at the same time, it doesn't mean they ain't going to keep moving forward. You're damn right they will. And there'll be another one. There will be another one. You can take that to the bank. Because they're going to push for red flag laws. But to hear him say the words, that was a positive, okay?
I know I look unstable. I'm just really frustrated. I'm really frustrated.
And that's all understandable. So that's where I left off with him. Now the last section of this video, I'm going to play from a live stream that was done the other day. And you need to listen closely if you haven't heard it. Because this is where the red flags stand with Monday, Forever Alone Monday. And understanding who Coach Red Pill really is. Understand this. Anybody with any kind of significant subs on YouTube is either completely asleep at the wheel and promoting the propaganda, or they're part of the establishment for money, for the tool. That's right, here with an agenda. And I would suggest to you that Monday, Forever Alone Monday, is no different than Coach Red Pill. That's right. They're plants, they're agents, just like Turd Flinging Monkey. Plants, agents. Okay? So I wanted to put this last part in here so that you get a history background on who Coach Red Pill really is. To understand he's ancestors to the establishment, which most likely means he's part of the establishment for the tool. He don't care if he tells non-truth. And you pay attention to the message Coach Red Pill pushes and the message that Monday Forever Alone Monday pushes, and you'll get it. But listen to this.
Right, so I've known about Coach for a while. It's been very obvious to see that he's a fraud and expose him for what he is. But what brought my attention to him recently was that our friend F.A. Monday was doing a live stream with him for his 200,000 subscribers, right?
Well, yeah.
So to get off with Coach Red Pill, first off, this is his Business Insider article. So I'm going to read from that for a bit.
Okay.
Gonzalo Lira is an American novelist and filmmaker born in Burbank, California. He is the son of Gonzalo Lira Valdez and Mireya Isabel Lopez Hess. He is a descendant of Jose Miguel Carrera. He grew up in the San Bernardino Valley, New York City, and Miami, as well as Guayaquil, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Ecuador. He completed high school at St. George's College in Santiago, Chile in 1985. He attended Dartmouth College in 1991, graduating with honors in 1995 with a degree in history and philosophy. His first novel was Counterparts, a commercial thriller published in 1997. His first Spanish language novel was Toma Erasura, a highly experimental coming-of-age story published in 1998. After moving to Lower Manhattan in 1998, Lira wrote, produced, and directed a comic short film, So Kinky. He worked developing video games such as Soldier of Fortune. He wrote his next novel, Acrobat, in 2002. The novel was subsequently purchased by Miramax to be turned into a motion picture. In 2002, he moved to Chile. He began writing and producing Spanish-language feature films. He co-wrote, produced, and directed the film Catalina's Kidnapping, a Spanish-language thriller, in 2006. Starting in 2010, Lira began contributing economic analysis to Zero Hedge and Naked Capitalism on Business Insider. Okay, so there's a couple of red flags with this guy. In fact, there's a lot. But the first one I'd like to get into is he's a descendant of Jose Miguel Carrera. Okay, now Jose Miguel Carrera was part of the three main political families in Chile in the early 1800s. So we have a descendant of one of the three main political families in Chile from the 1800s. Now, what gets my attention is that he's also friends with Richard Spencer from the alt-right movement, and Richard Spencer and his friendship go back to 2013, where they were playing the same games together and talking about the same games on Twitter. And most of this evidence can be found on Kiwi Farms. But, you know, what gets me about Richard Spencer is he's photographed with Laura Bush in the garden, so that's a colloquial setting. So here we have a guy who is a descendant of the main political family in Chile, who is friends with a guy who's friends with the Bush family, which is obviously one of the main political powers or families in America. So these families go back hundreds of years, right?
Yes.
So basically, it's this idea of New World Order, right? You have politicians or descendants of politicians and political families in Chile who know political families in America, and they've been connected through bloodlines for hundreds of years. And you have a guy from Chile knowing a guy, a politician, the Bushes from America, right?
That's exactly it. So what you have is connect the dots again, right?
Yeah, connect the dots. Common sense.
Exactly. Which unfortunately, there's not much of that left in today's society.
No.
But go ahead.
Right, well, Coach Red Pill's mother's surname is Hess, and Hess is a prominent German political family, right? Hess is quite a wealthy German name, I believe of German Jewish origin, so then you have the German connection as well. But, you know, Coach Red Pill, his goal, I believe, is to subvert the manosphere, because he makes videos on the manosphere talking about the descent of the manosphere, and he makes videos on TFL and Incel, in which he claims that Incel is a product of bad fathers. So he's basically saying, if you're a TFL, it's your father's fault for not raising you properly. So what he's trying to tell you. And who else in the Forever Alone community blames TFL on your childhood and your parents?
Right. So what we've taken is social engineering, and to keep it from coming back to the people actually responsible for the breakdown of our society and the genders, we want to convince you that it's your own fault.
Yes, F.A. Monday, right?
Exactly. So there you are. And that part needed to be heard, because for those who have half a brain left in their head that can really see what's going on in today's society, you need to understand who these people really are. Okay? And when it comes to incel and voluntary celibacy, even your guy right here told you right in your face, the focus of it is sex, and he don't want that. He wants a relationship. And anybody with any common sense left in their head at all understands that, yes, sex is part of a relationship, but the relationship is not based on sex. We have taken sex from the front of the back of the list and put it to the front, and the most important part of a relationship, destroying society with that. And this is why I get offended by people acknowledging and pushing sex, because they're only going along with the agenda and destroying society. That's all they're doing. That's not something that has to even be talked about. Why? Because we all already know. Why do you have to acknowledge and push something that we already know? That if you got a successful relationship will happen. It's not the most important part of any relationship to begin with. Never has been and never will be. And with that being said, I'm out of here. You have a good one.